healthy 17 or 18 degrees we reached yesterday. And a real good look on the live stream now of the surrounding area. Typical Italian cuisine and Italian scenery. The entrance to Mugello, unique with that giant race driving helmet as the sign-on point. As you drive into the paddock area, this undulating circuit is a real hit with the drivers, has been for many, many years. And whether you're on a bike or on four wheels, this place really to be enjoyed. The 2017 calendar then, as I say, kicked off in Dubai for the first round for the 24 hours, and then we have this succession of 12-hour races here in Mugello and at the Red Bull Ring across the weekend of the 7th and 8th of April, and rounds to look forward to after that. At Paul Ricard in the south of France, back to Italy, to Imola, to Portimao for a very warm weekend at the end of August. And round 7, we're going across the pond to Austin, Texas, and to the COTA circuit in the USA. A little more from Joe Bradley, who is in the pit lane.
Well, we're here in the hills of Tuscany. Where else in the world would you want to be? Italy in spring is a fantastic place, and here in Mugello, we're about to get things underway. The serious stuff is about to start. We've had 2 practice sessions all day yesterday and 90-minute, I should say, session this morning, where teams have just been honing and refining their cars for what will be the important stuff, which is about to start now. We're about to start 1 hour of qualifying, mixed classes. We've got our touring car classes as well as our GT classes, all going to be on the track at the same time. It's going to be very, very busy out there, but let's see just who's going to be fastest and who's going to be on the pole position for the 12 hours of Mugello.
Thank you, Joe. There's an indication of the amount of blue sky we have above us as Joe speaks to us from the paddock area, and the building to his right is where Graham Goodwin and I are situated, just to that building to the right there if you're watching the live stream. And the car's about to be unleashed then onto the racetrack for this hour-long session, Graham Goodwin.
They are indeed, and the other thing that gives an indication of is the scale of the entry here. 52 cars set to take to the track for this qualifying session. A heady mix of top GT cars, all the way down to and including 24-hour racing specials, silhouette cars, and some little touring cars as well, down to and including a little Renault Clio. It's a unique blend, the 24H series, in terms of the cars we're going to see out on track, and we're going to see some very quick lap times indeed. And will we see something as quick or quicker than Bernd Schneider's 1:49 in that earlier track session? Well, we're about to see, with the track going green as we speak. So out onto the circuit, streaming the cars. One of the 991 class cars. There's the 203, the silhouette BMW. Very different silhouette to the car we saw going remarkably quickly in the first session this morning. Viewers will get the first chance to see that number 118 BMW M4 silhouette mid-engine car, as Joe Bradley was describing in free practice this morning.
Yes, and if you didn't catch free practice, by the way, because we didn't have the live stream live at that point, we did have full coverage on radiolemans.com, and that will be available later on today as a podcast for you to visit, perhaps between this session, qualifying, and the race that starts at 2 p.m. Central European time. An hour behind, of course, if you're based in the UK, you can do the relevant calculations wherever you're positioned in the world. But 2 p.m. through till 6 p.m. is the first part of this year's 12 hours of Mugello today.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. local.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. local, indeed. And with the 203, what looks like a BMW, but actually is a Vortex machine, or that used to be a GC automobile, didn't it? And has now been relabeled as the Vortex, going through the succession of left-right chicane. So this is heading up to turn 4 now at Materassi, quickly followed by Borgo corner.
Yeah, rapidly building in pace and reliability to these machines not that long ago. But I'm afraid the one thing that was predictable is the unpredictability of those. But Dubai this year saw Even this car, also the new Vortex sports cars, I think we can call them, performing very well indeed for some late race dramas for the team. And cars now coming out in not major numbers, but out on track at the moment. The number 1 Forch Racing car, the Mercedes-AMG, also out there. The number 11, the Scuderia Praha Ferrari, goes on to a first flying lap. Both of the Vortex team cars. We'll get a chance to see their other car pretty soon. And keep an eye too on some of the names. As Matteo Malicelli is aboard the number 11 Scuderia Praha Ferrari 488 GT3, one of 2 here this weekend. Tom Onslow Cole is aboard the Ram Racing Mercedes-AMG. There is the number 56 KTM Crossbow. Now, who's aboard that car? There's Herberth Motorsport. That is the car that was an SPX car and has now been put into A6 Pro. So this is the car, if you're listening to the Radio Le Mans audio coverage earlier, we heard Thomas Enger talking about this as a car with more power and lots of tweaks to this car. This is not a standard GT4 KTM Crossbow. It's effectively a development car for Reiter Engineering to see what they can squeeze out of this pretty little KTM Crossbow package with its unique, well, can't really call it a door, entry method, which is that clamshell canopy that rises out the way sci-fi-like to allow driver access, carbon tub with the steel roll cage above it, and then topped off by that canopy. And a very quick car indeed. Not quite yet up to GT3 pace, but not a million miles away from it. It'll be interesting to see what can be squeezed out of that. 2:01.003, by the way, the first flying lap coming through for the 2:03 car we saw earlier. That's the GC Automobile Vortex V8 run BMW Silhouette. While we wait for the top cars in A6 to take to the track.
By the way, RadioLeMans.com's coverage of the 24-hour series for 2017, fully interactive as it always is. If you have any questions or contributions to add to the broadcast, we're live both in sound and in vision. You can tweet in the direction of @DSC Editor and @BlackpoolJohnny, just as Josh Barrett's done, asking what is the minimum lap time for A6 AM cars at this event. Well,
1:55.
1:55 is one of the times.
There's 2 of them, I think. We'll double check that, but 1:55 certainly is one of the bracket times.
Because in the modern Creventic era, we have this sort of A6 AM extra as well, don't we? Whereas you can choose which part of A6 AM you're in, and if you choose to go in the one which has a quicker delta time, you're compromised in other areas then, aren't you? It's fuel, yeah, so you can put less fuel in at the stops, and obviously if you decide to pit during a code 60, that's 50% of the fuel that you're permitted.
Correct.
But yeah, there's a varying amounts of fuel depending on which delta time you've gone for, and I'm not sure whether it's a quicker time than a 1:55 or a slower time, but we will find that out.
As always in endurance racing, it's a key thing for the team manager to be across the race and class specific regulations here, and it does catch people out remarkably often, it has to be said. Already got one car, albeit an A6 Pro car, under that 1:55. Matteo Malicelli, 1:54.784 for the Scuderia Praha Ferrari. He's about to blast that one into insignificance though, because he's come through already with 2 purple sectors in the number 11 car. So 1:54.764. We've seen a 1:49.1 so far today. He goes through now. It's a 1:49.1, a 1:49.127. Just, I think, a couple of thousandths off the time set in the earlier session from Bernd Schneider, but that's a mighty quick time this early.
Joe Bradley down in the pit lane reminding me that Vic Rice told us earlier on that the delta time for the GDL Lamborghini Huracan is a 1:53.
Right, so that's the other bracket time.
So 1:53 and 1:55 being the bracket times, the delta times in A6 AM. You can go as fast as you like if you're running an A6 Pro car.
And Matteo Malicelli is going quicker again this time, and we need to find out really what happened to that number 87 car. Ground to a halt during the session. Now, whether or not that was a fuel run, didn't get the impression it was. But but Rick Broikers, the pro aboard that car, newly crowned Lamborghini Super Trofeo Middle East champion and soon-to-be Le Mans driver aboard the ARC Bratislava Ligier in LMP2 for this year's Le Mans 24 Hours. There's a good indication of the breadth of cars we've got in this race. The Renault RS01 just ahead there of the number 10 KTM Crossbow. I saw one of the TCR Audis in that shot, as well as the little Renault Clio. It's another purple sector for Matteo Malicelli. That is his 5th in succession, and is going to improve again if he doesn't hit traffic in this final longer sector. We'll wait for the red Ferrari to come on through. So it's the 11 Ferrari quickest from the number 25, the HTP Motorsport AMG. Then it's the IDEC Sport AMG, and then the Vortex. It's the number 204 car, another car that's been elevated from SPX up to A6. It's a 1:47.7 for Matteo Malicelli on that lap, so carves another couple of seconds out. At the moment has a mighty almost 4-second advantage over his nearest competitor. That won't last for long, I'm sure, but 51 minutes remain. In the first 9 minutes of the session, 1:49.1 followed by 1:47.7 for Matteo Malicelli aboard the number 11 Scuderia Praha Ferrari 488, Johnny.
Bryce Bosey drives the number 25 Mercedes in that smart sky blue livery, and need to be careful not to mix that car up with the number 24 car, which is the SPS Automotive Performance AMG machine. Very similar liveries for the 24 and the 25, but one is HTP Motorsport, that's the 25 with Bryce at the wheel, and Bernd Schneider just about the quickest in that trio of drivers. Wim de Pundert, by the way, completing the HTP Motorsport combination for this weekend, and Elmer Grimm, our pilot in the number 34 Car Collection Motorsport Audi. So that car is currently 22nd in the standings. No, that's changed actually since...
Just about to complete a fast lap.
Yes, so it's moving up the order.
And another man, by the way, to beat this morning's quickest time has come Tom Onslow Cole, up into second position in qualifying session so far. 1.2 seconds back from Malicelli, but a 1:48.921 for Tom Onslow Cole, with a debut for Ram Racing's new Mercedes-AMG GT3, the number 30 car. This is a team we know that have run well here before. They know which way around this circuit goes. It's going to be interesting to see what this new look Ram Racing squad can achieve here this weekend.
Elmer Grimm's gone 10th, so being shown on the live stream graphics as 22nd. It had dropped to 26th, but now it's gone to 10th fastest. You can get some news from Joe Bradley very shortly, with the 34 car just working its way now through turn 3 at Poggio Secco. And Joe Bradley has a little bit of news, I believe, down in the pit lane. Let's see what Joe's got for us.
Session so far. We've seen brand new brake discs work on the car. Now this is probably pre-race preparation. Not too much emphasis being placed on qualifying. All the car needs to do is go out, put in some banker laps, get the time in the bag. This is the pre-race prep, was what I'm seeing now. And if one of the Renault brothers were hanging around the car, and I was hoping to get a word with them. When I get a word with them, I'll report back. But for me, I think these guys are just being very, very cool about this race. They're doing their pre-race prep, they're doing their last-minute renewal of brake discs and pads, etc., what they're going to need for the 12 hours, and they're kind of throwing caution to the wind with regards to qualifying. Now, one of the Renault brothers is across the other side of the car now, and I think it's Alfred. Let me just see if... I know he looks busy, he's got stickering. Alfred, please tell me.
Robert.
This is Robert, sorry. That's Nick's job getting you wrong. Robert, is this just pre-race prep that I'm seeing?
Yeah, looks like. No.
So you guys are really cool. You are going to qualify though.
We will do hopefully the last 15 minutes. Yeah, we have to fix something on the ground. So yeah, but we get it done for the qualifying for the last 15 minutes or 20 minutes, so it's enough time to make a good lap time.
Was that always the plan? Was that the plan to do that?
Not normally the plan.
Okay, all right. Now you can see you're very busy. Robert Renaud there, always get them mixed up. Twin brothers, of course, Alfred and Robert Renaud, the drivers and part of the Herberth team. So hopefully we will see this car out to take part in the last 15 minutes of the session. This car, like I said, the favourite to win the Mugello 12 Hours.
Yeah, very much a favourite. Thank you, Joe. That car has the ability to run and run again. And I'm trying to remember the last race that it had some kind of mechanical gremlins. But it's been a long time, and we often joke that Precoat do have a problem with when if the car came in with an issue, they'd be kind of like, well, we don't know how to fix it because the car just runs, no problem at all. All we need to know is how to polish the thing. There's the 21 Konrad Motorsport Lamborghini, looking a little slow on its lap, and this is the blue SPS car, so this is car 24. I have to keep reminding myself it's not 25, it's 24. And there's car 25, which is the fastest machine out there. No, it's not anymore, in fact. Matteo Malicelli in the 11 Ferrari has now gone quickest, a 147.703. So Ferrari 488 now fastest, Graham Goodwin, from Tom Onslow-Cole in a number 30 Mercedes, who's gone quicker than anybody else through Sector 2.
And improving, so 1.2 seconds is the gap that Tom Onslow-Cole has got to make up to the now pit-bound Matteo Malicelli. He's not improved since that very early shots with a 147.7. How much can Tom Onslow-Cole close that gap? So 148.9 plays 147.7. It's a long final sector, just over 50 seconds for the quickest cars. Looking at the new look, because it's new, because that's a good reason. Number 30, Ram Racing Mercedes-Benz. 8 of these Mercedes here. And what was the chassis number we were told applied to one of those new cars?
From Dan, Shufflebottom.
90?
90, yeah.
It's number 90. So
90, correct.
And I know there's another new one since then, heading towards the team. Tom Onslow-Cole goes through. He does close the gap. It's a 148.5 now. Closes the gap by 0.4 of a second. So under a second back now. 147.7 plays 148.5. 11 Ferrari from 30 Mercedes-Benz. There's more to come from this session. Much, much more. Only 32 of the 52 runners so far having set a flying lap, Johnny.
Well, to back that theory up, in that there's more to come from the session yet, Joe Bradley's just been watching a driver change at HTP Motorsport. Who have they put in the 25 car, Joe?
Yes, they've put their ace card into the car. Bernd Schneider being inserted into the 25 Mercedes. Quite an interesting sponsor on the car. Exact Vodka, dropping past by this team tonight when we go into our race break. First 4 hours of the race this afternoon, the final 8 hours running tomorrow. But Bernd Schneider is the driver that you will see now in that beautiful blue-coloured Mercedes AMG GT of the HTP team. So the 25 car about to go out and stand back and watch those timing screens, because this is as fast as this car will go with that man at the wheel.
Yeah, we missed just that moment where the team leaned into the car, removed the pin from Bernd Schneider, so he's now primed and ready to explode onto the track. 149.0 meanwhile, third quickest goes to Marco Mappelli, the brand new Lamborghini factory driver in the 21 Konrad car. So it is now Ferrari from Mercedes-Benz from Lamborghini, 1, 2, 3, 11 from 30 and 21. Those three separated by 1.3 seconds, quite a gap at the moment. Fourth quickest is this car. It's the IDEC Sport car, another of the Mercedes-Benz. Also under 150, 149.9 so far from that team. They've been up there at the sharp end in the practice sessions so far. Saying on the audio broadcast earlier this morning, IDEC Sports, a unique racing team, racing this Mercedes-Benz. We've got a yellow flag at turn 9, by the way. This Mercedes-Benz, their brand new LMP2 Ligier for the European Le Mans Series, and around the world catamaran in yacht racing.
Yes, an interesting mix. And the mention from Joe Bradley of a certain vodka brand could add a whole new level to our pizza and beer meeting later on tonight. I'm worried already, frankly. There's the IDEC. for the rest of the weekend, frankly. There's the IDEC Sport Car, number 17. They're here with a couple of machines this weekend, one in the A6 Pro class, and it is A6 Pro, isn't it? The 17 machine has been going far too quickly for it to be A6 AM, yes. Patrice or Paul Lafargue, one of the two, at the wheel of that car, about to come back across the line. It's fourth fastest and shown no indication that it will improve on that. Indeed it doesn't, so stays fourth.
The one car that has improved, and the bragging rights between the two big Italian marks here gets a little bit tastier. Konrad Motorsport, Mapelli goes through the 148.093, under 4 tenths now is the lead gap, the pole gap, from 147.7 from Magliucelli to 148.0 from, so it's MM from MM, Ferrari from Lamborghini, in the heartland of the Italian supercar here. So this is beginning to heat up nicely, literally and figuratively.
Nearly 20 minutes of this qualifying session done, so once we get to that point, we'll be a third into it. The IDEC Sport Car heading down to the lowest part of the circuit now and about to start the climb through the two Arrabbiatas.
And improvement too from the Vortex, the 204 car, up into 6th position overall. That's a very good time indeed. 151.454 from that car. One of a trio of cars that have been elevated from SPX up to the lead Class A6 Pro, with some BOP applied to all three cars. And one of those three is a car we saw in some trouble in the earlier session, the 87 GDL Racing Asia car. Racing Middle East car. It's a car coming to a halt on circuit. That has not taken to the track so far in this session. There's the very pretty number 24 car. Johnny talked about that car earlier. Number of bright blue cars in this race. There's one of 8 Mercedes AMG GT3s. TCR Seat to the right of him. And one of the 991 Cup cars just ahead of the Seat. Another mixed bag. Mapelli pits after that. No, he's not pitted. In fact, he's long overdue. So what's happened to Marco Mapelli? Car overdue out on circuit somewhere, and this is a timing glitch for the number 21 car. First and third place cars at the moment on pit road. Lafargue goes through and improves his time, but still 2 seconds back from those from the leading time. Watching for what we're going to see from Bernd Schneider winding up, but no major improvement so far from the German superstar. Still 5th quickest, number 25 car, Johnny.
A team regularly the pace setters in Class A6 AM, Hoffer Racing, previous champions of course. Joe Bradley is currently in their garage.
I fell for this so many times. The number 1 Hofer Mercedes comes into the garage early in qualifying, causes me consternation, but then Michael Kroll here will remind me that that's the plan. That's the job done, Michael. Qualifying done for you guys.
Yes, because we are in the Pro M class and we are very close to the minimum reference lap time. So the risk will be too big to go under it, as it happened to one of our opponents. So we retire the car for now. We are where we want to be, and that's it.
Now, Michael, I see once again you're here at Mugello, the same driver lineup. The team is very strong, very experienced. What makes Hofer Racing and the Krolls continue in this vein? No driver changes this season. You just continue on your way.
Yeah, it's never change a winning team. It's a family team. We started that way and we will finish that way.
Now, looking at the race this afternoon, 4 hours of the race this afternoon, what's the tactic for the first 4 hours of this race?
Well, the tactic is to get as lot as driving time for the amateurs as possible. We will do 3 drivers and look that we have a half full tank for tomorrow morning.
So, sorry, that was you want to finish with half a fuel tank?
That's right.
So what's the thinking behind that exactly?
That we don't have to refuel today and that we can go for a half a stint tomorrow morning, hoping for a code 60.
So tell me a little bit, how does the team pass their time this evening? I was talking to Christian earlier about keeping the concentration and the focus. which is like, you know, we're all going to break for a pizza and a few beers and stuff. How do you keep the team focused?
Oh, we will go for a silent evening. We have a dinner here at the racetrack, then we go for an early sleep. We had a big birthday party yesterday. Hans Heyer was 74, so the party is already done, and for tomorrow we have to concentrate. It's not cheap here, so there's no reason to have a big party and then can't drive in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely, very professional. Thanks, Michael. Best of luck, job done for now. Race this afternoon. Thanks, Michael. Michael Crow.
Birthday boy Hans Heyer yesterday, though. That's good. A good thing to learn about.
A little bit wide there for, I think it was the 24 car we're on board with. A little bit of excitement. The 911 car told us they'd be back out with 15 minutes to go. They're actually out on track, the number 911. And lapping reasonably quickly on an outlap will be starting their first fly. In fact, are on their first flyer now. So let's keep an eye out for the Dubai 24 Hours winning Porsche as to what can be achieved there. No major changes at the top of timing and scoring whilst Joe was talking there. Up into fourth, though, comes the Forch Racing powered by Olimp Porsche. 149.173 for the number 29 car. So, could have a pair of Porsches jetting up into significant positions. So Robert Lucas has put in that time. So now 5 cars under the 150 mark. And the top 3 sitting on pit road at the moment. So what can the number 911 car do about, well, there we are, the 911 just ahead of the Optimum Ginetta. G55, and the pace setter in the SP3 GT. It's Abe Barwick at the wheel of the car. Is it 5 out of the last 6 or 4 out of the last 5 Dubais that the G50 and G55 have won? It's been an astonishing record.
In GT4?
In GT4.
That's a good question.
And a remarkable, not just the wins, but also the podium positions for those little cars.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had a phenomenal record, haven't they? You know, in terms of the place spots, if you like,
Absolutely.
for horse racing fans. They've always been featured in the top 3 and, yeah, regularly winning that as well. But for many seasons, the Ginetta has been the GT4 car to have, hasn't it?
First offering, by the way, for Renault in the number 911 Herberth Motorsport car is up into the top 10. 9th position, 151.622 is effectively the fast sighting lap for that car. So far we have now seen 43 cars set a flying lap. And no challenge just at this moment to Maricelli's 147.7. We're 4.5 minutes away from the halfway point in this 1-hour qualifying session. Busy track out there at times. Cars still joining in with the session. The latest to join in is the 118 BMW M4 Silhouette, and we'll get a chance to see that car on the video stream for the first time. Its first outing in the 24-hour series, but car number 3 with this team in Dutch Supercar Challenge. Mid-mounted BMW engine and effectively a tube-frame Silhouette chassis, but spectacular stuff. And down the back straight yesterday, as we watched on from trackside, spitting flame, a good, I just said, 3 feet out the back of the car.
Robert Lukash for Forch Racing has reached the right-hander at Koren Chow and now whipping his way through that really quick chicane. And
there is the 118.
There is the 118 car, the famous flame-spitting JR Motorsport M4 Silhouette. Remember, mid-engined. This is the power plant sits basically right behind the driver. And yeah, a real spectator highlight if you're out on the banking watching this qualifying session unfold. Driver change taking place at GP Extreme.
That was Jordan Grogor getting out and training. It's practice in the garage. That's Fred Fattier getting aboard. Up into 4th position while we're watching this, by the way. Timing and scoring comes Bernd Schneider, 149.005 for Bernd Schneider in the HTP number 25 car. So joins the sub 150 club. 911, meanwhile, improves 150.228 and going quicker again this time around. There's Bernd Schneider. Makes his way by a slower car. And pushing hard to improve even further. He has 1.3 seconds to find, to the point where there's a bead of sweat on the brow of Matteo Monicelli.
Here's Joe Bradley in the pit lane once again.
Yeah, the number 11 Ferrari's up in the on its jacks in the pit lane. Tyres on the car. The team tell me that their qualifying is over unless someone beats their time. I'm not going to hex them by speaking to Matteo about the lap or anything like that. We wait and see. But these guys are on tender hooks, got their eyes peeled on the timing screen. So the number 11 Ferrari on the provisional pole position, static in the pit lane, job done unless they have to.
Question from down under from young Slade Perrins. Good morning from Mugello, young man, and he's asking about the Renault RS01s. Will they be supporting the ELMS again this year as a one-make series? Sadly, no. Renault have pulled that series, and the reason they've pulled it is actually good news for endurance racing fans, because all the orders for those cars, and they had several, were actually for the endurance spec car. So we'll be seeing more Renault RS01s lapping, but unfortunately not in the always spectacular, Johnny Palmer, one-make Renault Sport Trophy.
Yeah, you were guaranteed some panel damage in that championship, generally speaking. I mean, there were some horrendous starts to some of the races. I remember a real cracker on the run-up from turn 1 to 2 at the Red Bull Ring, and also the start at Spa last year was rather dramatic as well. But, yeah, it was an interesting one-make championship. Obviously, you had the 70-minute race on the Saturday and 2 sprint races on the Sunday. But very little upgrade work required to one of these Renaults to take part in a 12-hour race and indeed win the Mugello 12 Hours in 2016 in one of those cars.
On board at the moment with Elmer Grimm in the number 34 car collection Audi, and great opportunity there to see angle. Looks pretty wide. It's not, believe me, when you're out there, there's not a lot of room here. A reasonably narrow circuit, principally used according of the bikes, and what a circuit it is for those. And some fantastic viewing spots for a viewing audience. Oh, the 991 Cup car just looks to get out of the way there, goes left and goes right. Finally there, we've got a car in the gravel, driver's left there. It's another of the port. No, that might well have been a Mercedes-Benz. And that was a car stationary. Are we going to see therefore a code 60 for that? We'll keep an eye on that. There's a car stationary towards the end of the lap as Elmer Grimm comes through to complete his lap. Past the halfway mark, Monicelli, Mappelli, Onslow, Cole, Schneider, the top 4. Scuderia Praha, Ferrari, Konrad Motorsport, Lamborghini, separated by 3, just under 0.4 of a second. Then the Ram Racing Mercedes-Benz, then the HTP Motorsport Mercedes-Benz, and the top 5 rounded out by Porsche. So 4 makes in the top 5. It's a Forch Racing car, the 29 car, Lukash. And all those top 5, in fact the top 6 under 150.
The 101 car, by the way, is a Honda Civic TCR car from Capricorn Racing. Claudio Truffer at the wheel of that at the moment, sharing with Patrick Meyer and Gerhard Haas. So 3 Swiss drivers in the TCR class, and this is the Porsche 991 from APO Sport.
I think that was the car that we saw stationary briefly, just towards the end of the lap. Has managed to gather that up and get the car back to the pits. So a bit of a moment, perhaps, with that final S's. Patisserie Valerie backing on the car. Doesn't work like the donuts, does it? They don't bring us pastries.
Correct.
That would be nice.
More's the pity.
But at the moment, a pretty well-behaved 52-car grid. Still quick times coming in. Improvement for that Silhouette BMW into the top 20 now. 155.0 for the SP2 leader. Class leaders, by the way, obviously in A6 Pro. It is Matteo Monicelli's provisional pole-setting time for Scuderia Praha in their Ferrari. A6 Audi RS3 LMS, one of 2 of those new cars here. And then A2 is Jakob Christensen.
Now that might be related though to your internet worries, more so than it being an issue with this bright green, GRT Grass Racing Lamborghini Huracan, typical team colours, and Pampanini incredibly quick in one of these Italian cars, sharing with Milos Pavlovic, the man from Serbia, Christoph Lenz and Martin Eichin, which looks, on the face of it, to be a great driver combination. Do not discount this car from being well and truly in the mix come Saturday afternoon. The 963 car just heading through the right-hander at Corin Chow and on towards the chicane at Biondetti.
Trying to find a tweet that I was looking to respond to just before we got a bit of on-track action. Basically, the general question was around, I have a car, which class would it be in? Well, there was an open invitation from the Creventic to anybody that's got a race car in endurance form. Drop them a line, give them a call. They'll find a class for it, whether or not it's here in the main series, whether or not it's in the TCS series for the more touring car and the less ultimately rapid GT cars, or indeed their new prototype series. So if you've got any kind of endurance racing car, their pledge is they will try and find a class for you to race it.
Yeah, and if you're in the TCE series, obviously there are 5 races principally in that championship, but there's also the option to do Dubai and the Kota race as well to make it a 7-race series if you want to get a little bit of air freight, or indeed you can be boated to those venues as well in a big container.
My Wi-Fi's coughed back into life, so
Oh,
I
good.
think it's David Chitchek. If that's wrong, I heartily apologise, David, but David says he has a VW Fun Cup car. Big fun, those things. So drop them a line, they'll let you know. I'm sure they'll find somewhere for it to race.
They are great cars, usually used in the One Make Championship, of course, but I'm sure Creventic will love to see
With the
1
173
or indeed 10 of those cars involved in their race.
Romanian team.
So, just caught a glimpse on the live stream of the Toyota GT86 from Bucharest, Romania, working its way through the lower part of the circuit, and Joe Bradley has an update on that team.
Oh, I've got better than an update. I've got a 2. I said that right. Thank you, Stefan. Stefan, you guys are making history as the very first team from Romania to be competing in an international motor race. Did you know that?
Yes, we are the first team from Romania who participated here, and we are very happy to be here to participate in this competition, in this higher level of competition.
Does that bring pressure? You are representing Romania.
Yes, it's true. We have a very big responsibility for all the Romanian people who love the motorsport, and actually we hope to do a very good, our objective is to finish the race here, and we enjoy every second to be here in the high level of competition.
The Toyota GT86 is a great race car. It's great to have it here. It must be a pleasure to drive the track at Mugello in this car.
Yes, it's true. For every driver, for every competition, to be here with these GT cars and all that stuff and equipment, for us it's splendid. It's a dream come true, and we hope to finish the race and everything to be perfect. You know, with our team and our mechanic, we hope to be here from next season for all the season.
That would be great. So the whole team, the mechanics, everything is from Romania?
Everybody are from Romania. We are in total 4 drivers, 3 from Romania and 1 Italian guy.
Right, just the 1 Italian. Yeah. So whereabouts in Romania is everyone from?
In Romania we have a racetrack, a new racetrack. Like we competed in our endurance series, and we have a lot of competition made in our country, in the United States. We are not the first time on the racetrack.
Right,
yes. But for us, in this big high level of racing, we are first time, and we want to do a good impression.
It's great to have you here. Thank you, Stefan. We'll speak to you this afternoon in the race. Good luck.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Joe Bradley with Stefan Unchiasu.
And wearing a Porsche WEC hat marking
Like
the ambition. There's the car with the
Yes.
Romanian colours proudly emblazoned aboard the TMG Cologne-built V3 version of the Toto GT86. Fabulous little race car. What a way to go motor racing. You can see the pleasure in his face, can't you, there? Very welcome indeed to Endurance Team Romania. Love to see more to come. Brand new racetrack, he was telling us, there in Romania. We have seen international racing in Romania in relatively recent times. The FI GT3 Championship with a street circuit in Bucharest some years ago.
Yep.
That one, I think, now long gone, but let's hope this marks the start of something big for Romania Motorsports. Meanwhile, we've got a new fastest time popping through, and it's Fabio Lima, 2013 GP2 champion aboard this 488 Ferrari, literally and descriptively. It's the number 488. It's a Ferrari 488 GT3 from Octane 126. Be interested to see what happens with that, because it's not going to figure in the overall results or on podiums. Presumably, though, we'll be allowed to start from pole position if it stays that way. It's because there is the car. This is a team testing development Hankook rubber. Believe this is going to be a one-off appearance of the 24H series for Fabio Lima and his teammate Bjorn Grossman, the reigning two-time. It's the Ferrari Challenge champion, this team from Zurich in Switzerland, and this team bound for the VLN in the future, not immediately, but bound for the VLN. And as we were saying in the earlier broadcast, Johnny, the exciting news for endurance racing fans worldwide is you will be able to watch and listen to coverage from Radio Show Limited for, obviously in the English language, for live racing for the VLN for the very first time this year, in addition to what's now become an annual tradition, which is, of course, the Nürburgring 24 hours. So unmatched coverage in English language from the Green Hell around the world. And we're all forming a disorderly queue to find out who's going to get the gig for that, because I think we all fancy talking about that one. Up in a second now, and a new second quickest. The top three now separated by 0.032 of a second, because Robert Lukáš has come through in the 29 Porsche, the Forch Racing by Olimp car. So 488 Ferrari from the number 29 Porsche from Malicelli's Scuderia Praha Ferrari. My guess is that we're going to see that car coming off the jacks any time now. Under 19 minutes to go. And Robert Lukáš is going quicker again this time around. So is pole position under threat from the Porsche? 488 from 29 from 11. Mapelli is on an outlap now in the fourth place car, the Konrad Lamborghini Huracan. And all of a sudden, as we get into towards the last quarter of an hour of this session, Johnny, it's beginning to hot up rapidly.
Absolutely. Yeah, we kind of expected this. Quick times to be set down pretty early on, but in so far an uninterrupted session, I'm pleased to say that the times are really starting to tumble. One of the pace setters early on in the session was Tom Onslow-Cole, a man who now joins Joe Bradley.
Tom, you guys have completed your qualifying, I take it. The car's parked up. You're about to take your overalls off, it looks like.
We're still here. We're still in the pit lane, hovering, but you know, we're quite happy with the time we've managed to get out of the Mercedes. It's pretty good. We're at the right end of the grid. The final positions we'll know maybe in the next 15 minutes, but you know, we're there or thereabouts. It's a 12-hour race. We don't want to do too much running with the car. We've got a little bit of prep to do before the race, and it's such a tight day today, so we want to make use of this time in the pits rather than out on track. So
I take it, Tom, if you slip down the leaderboard, would it be worth going out and risking everything just to put yourself 2 further places up?
Right now, before you've slipped, no, probably not. As soon as you slip, absolutely. Like,
is it just bragging rights, though? Surely.
I guess so. Yeah. You know, you put a load of guys together on the pit wall and the driver stirring them up a bit, and all of a sudden you're out there trying to find a few more tenths to find that extra position. But logically right now it doesn't seem too sensible to do that. We've got other things to get on with to be prepared for the race.
Back on familiar ground with the Ram team. That's it's kind of coming home, isn't it, in the Creventic series for you. Tell us a little bit about your teammates, Raymond Vos, Kevin Veltman, Dutch guys, yeah?
Yes, and both new to the GT3 category, racing, and getting on very well. Kevin has good experience. He's raced quite a bit in other categories before and has raced in the series also. And Raymond only has a few races under his belt. So this is a big challenge, and it's been You know, we've only done minimal testing really a day with Riemann, so he's doing very well to be up to speed. But you take for granted the code 60, knowing that in second gear the speed limiter is different to first gear, and just all of the procedural things that you become accustomed to. It's a lot to take on.
It's got to become muscle memory, hasn't it? Tell us, what's this Mercedes like Mugello? Mugello's renowned for being a MotoGP track, a motorcycling track. So does the long sweeping curves, does it take it out of the tyres? Tell us.
It is quite aggressive on the tyre here, because you're leaning on them for quite a long time, especially in the last turn. Here it really kills that right-hand front. So we've had to dial the setup back just a little bit to make sure we can maintain pace all the way through the stint. But for us, the Mercedes feels very good. It's got good aero. We don't quite seem to have the pace of the mid-engine cars, but I think in the race that will even out. I think it's just the one lap, that last little bit that we just haven't quite got here.
Great stuff. And you are at the right end of the grid. Thanks for talking to us, Tom. I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want you to slip down. Yeah, fingers crossed. Tom Oslo-Cole, the number 30 Ram Mercedes, as you heard there. Everything on course and everybody gearing up towards that race start this afternoon.
I think the answer is proven by what we're seeing on timing and scoring. 488, we explained, is here effectively as a Hankook development car this weekend, and actually has had its times wiped, is now back to the bottom of timing and scoring, so will not, by the look of things, start from the front row. So back into, well, in fact, for the first time into pole position is Robert Lukáš in the number 29 Porsche. Porsche from Ferrari then on the front row provisionally of the race this afternoon, with then Lamborghini and Mercedes-Benz. So four mates in the top four. And just looking further down at where the class battles are, cracking stuff in the TCR class. Linus Stern on timing and scoring, the top 5 cars in TCR, separated okay by 6 seconds for the top 5, but by under 2 seconds for the top 4. And those positions have been changing pretty rapidly. Currently it is the number 115, the Bonk Motorsport Audi RS3 LMS that leads that class, way down the overall order, but class battles are equally important here for these guys. Matteo Malicelli on an outlap at the moment and looking to see what he can do to claw back the 0.004 of a second that actually make the difference between pole position and second right now. He goes onto a flying lap as I speak, and will be off in pursuit. There he is in the bright red Ferrari. And what other colour should there be? Particularly here at Mugello. The APO Sport Porsche. Perhaps just mildly compromising his line there. Certainly holding him up into turn 3. So don't think there'll be an improvement here. Robert Renaud, meanwhile, up into 6th position now. The number 911 Herberth Motorsport Porsche, climbing steadily up the order, under 150 for the first time that time around, and now it's the top 7 cars that are sub 150. The pole position time now is 1:47.699, 0.004 per second as the BMW goes very wide there, and is spat back on in front of the number 11, Johnny.
Yeah, well, ordinarily that BMW slight off wouldn't have been an issue, but the problem was Matteo Malicelli was catching up with that white BMW at a very rapid rate of knots and had to, as you say, lift out of what would have been a very quick lap otherwise. And Malicelli becoming more and more used to where the traffic is. Of course, he's raced at this circuit before, Italian at his home track, if you like, although Imola is also going to feature as one of the 24-hour series events in late June, early July. And Malicelli has now managed to sneak his way by those 2 cars and can try and finish now, well, going through Biandetti chicane. One more corner to go, but that lap heavily compromised. He'll have a Clio to deal with as well through the final hairpin.
And all of a sudden, he is the prancing horse meat in a Porsche sandwich, because 3rd quickest overall now is Robert Renaud in the number 911 Herberth Motorsport car, just 0.3 back from the Ferrari, 1:48.009. So 29 Porsche on pit road now from the number 11 Ferrari. Starts another flying lap now with a little bit more clear air in front of him. Robert Renaud, though, is quicker still, but perhaps significantly on his in-lap, Lukáš put in the quickest first sector of the session. We've got 11.5 minutes to go, but again, the Ferrari is held up in exactly the same part of the track again, and it's another Porsche Cup car.
Yeah, got delayed by the APO Sport machine, the 80 earlier on, through no fault of the APO Sport Porsche's pilot, I should say, because that car's got to be somewhere, particularly through the sequence of left-right chicanes where there is only one racing line. And these cars, well, the GT4 spec cars on the edge of their adhesion, so needing to be cautious of the curbs. There's only so much giving way you can do to a faster GT3 car.
Yeah, and another improvement, and we've got two mighty battles here for significant positions. 4 thousandths per second for pole, now 9 thousandths per second for third, because Marco Mappelli has put in a 1:48.018. He's 0.319 of a second back from pole. 0.310 from pole is Robert Renauer in third position. So it is Porsche, Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini now for provisionally, with 10.5 minutes to go. The front two rows of the race for this afternoon's race start the first section of the 12 hours of Mugello, and that is a Ferrari going slowly.
Well, Manuchelli's well and truly backed off here. Is that in order to give himself some clean air ahead?
I would hope so.
I don't think that's a problem, although I'm just wondering whether the rear left tyre is flailing very slightly. No, that's an optical illusion, I think. Braking late into the final corner.
He's looking for a flyer. That's what he's looking for now.
I thought so. So Buccini at the left-hander there, and now he puts the foot down. There's quite a bit of tyre pickup there that just falls off the rear tyres.
Now he's got a clear track.
Because he's created this space, hasn't he? Well and truly backing off out of Corin Chow. He was almost at walking pace through Biondetti, and the car squirming under braking as he heads into Donato corner, the first hairpin on this fabulous Mugello circuit in the heart of Tuscany. Again, squirming at Luco corner as well. On the ragged edge, Manuchelli, almost all four wheels off onto the curbing. In typical Italian colours, the curbing here is white, red and green. And they're now, the Ferrari is now at Borga corner, heading downhill, keeping the car to the left-hand side and into the off-camber Casanova corner. He's slowed again. Interesting. Now, is this an intermittent fault, therefore? Or is it, again, him trying to find a bit of space, realising he was about to catch traffic? The APO Sport car behind him now.
What's that about?
I hope it's nothing to do with almost fight back to APO Sport.
No, I don't think so. I think he had a problem there. He slowed very dramatically there.
There was just a little bit of blocking, though, for the APO Sport car.
Or is he just trying to find some space, but not doing it in a particularly gentlemanly way?
Well, yeah, I mean, he slowed up sufficiently to allow the APO Sport Porsche by, I thought, but then cut across its bows at Arrabbiata 1. That was my only slight concern. What he doesn't want to do, of course, is allow the Porsche by, because that would ruin any opportunity that he's trying to create for himself to open up this air gap ahead. Now he's accelerated again. So this time, perhaps, is an opportunity to find the gap in the traffic. Still got 8 minutes to play with, but I'm sure the 80 car will have not been too happy with that manoeuvre into Arrabbiata turn 1, and it was Alex Osborne at the wheel who had to check up himself in the APO Sport Porsche.
I think he made an error. His first sector time was about 0.3 off the quickest sector time. I think he was off in his delta, and I think he lifted. And I think that was a mistake by Manuchelli in the first sector, lifted off, and then I have to say did not do a very good job of keeping out the way of the closing Porsche. He's now got.
But he didn't want to let him by, did he? I mean,
no, he didn't. But that's you can't ruin the qualifying lap for another quicker car because you've made an error.
Quite right. Slowed again, though. The car.
He is quick this time, though.
Okay, maybe that was an optical illusion again. Then it looked like the car was slow, heading out of Borgo corner and down the hill into Casanova.
Again, slow.
The car's off. The car's not taking the traditional line and is going to take the shortcut into the back of the pits. So
that might be it.
He's not happy, perhaps, with the setup of that car.
Unless he's sensing a problem. Maybe, I wonder if he's getting some kind of
vibration,
fuel flow issue.
Yes.
Because that is where we've got the real incline up through sector 1. Again, another look at the 173, the Endurance Team Romania car. Here comes the number 11 car.
Well, it's an issue they need to sort quick, smart, because we now only have 6.5 minutes. There is opportunity to get around.
Had he been told of the yellow flag?
Maybe. maybe. No, I think
it came a little later, didn't it?
There's discussion here with the team trying to work out what the problem is, what Malucelli is feeling, or rather not feeling perhaps. And I think Graham's point that is the real incline out of Borgo corner. Well, it kind of starts at Donato, doesn't it? And you're uphill towards the first left-right flick, continuing the incline then through the next at Materassi and Borgo, and then it starts to plunge down the hill. Joe Bradley is right with the number 11 Ferrari. What do you know?
Well, I've managed to poke my nose in somewhere, and just spoke to Joseph Kral, who thinks Malucelli is reporting the vibration. So he's not sure though, so don't call me on that one. Nothing apparent on the car, by the way. Nothing apparent.
Okay.
Well, the other theory that could have been offered was running it on very low on fuel, but there's no fuel being offered to the car. I mean, said there's got to go to the fueling point to do that. He didn't head for fuel, so you would anticipate that's not the issue. 5 minutes to go.
Here's more from Joe.
Yeah, they are inside the car with the driver from what would effectively be the passenger door, and they are taping something. They are securing something. That's obviously, my deduction would be that something's come loose inside the car. There's tank tape and now cable ties being offered. So I can't see what exactly they are that they're taping down, but it is something that must be moving around in the car and totally putting Matteo Malucelli off whilst he's driving round. I couldn't quite see what it was that they were securing. But the car is now moving off its pit apron and going out back onto the track. Stand back. This is where we see the pole position time potentially.
That would make perfect sense if he was getting a problem in the same part of the track, if something was coming astray. If he's distracted by that, that would also explain why he made a bit of a mess in front of the Porsche, if he's trying to find out what's loose in the cockpit. So that would explain two parts of the mystery. Out he comes, though, and I think we're probably expecting now something of a concerted effort from Matteo Malucelli, a man known for his spectacular style on track. And away he goes with, I have to say, a rather purposeful gait around the number 11 Ferrari. We'll deal with the little Renault Clio. Ferrari versus Clio. You don't see that very many places apart from the 24-hour series in international motorsports. And he's got a relatively clear track ahead of him here. Got a lot of cars on pit road. There are not many cars out on track here. And we've got 3.5 minutes, so he's got time to come around and get in. Certainly, it will be just one lap, won't it? It'll be a one-shot deal for him. The 203 car, meanwhile, being pushed to a place of safety. That is where we've got the yellow flag at turn 14. It could be perfect timing here for Malucelli, because that car will be, I think, to a place of safety before he comes around to turn 14 on his flying lap. You can see the gap in the barrier there. So the 203 car in some trouble. The 204 car, by the way, sister car from Vortex V8, is into the top 10, the 204 Vortex 1.0.
By the way, just thinking about what needed to be strapped down in the cockpit of Malucelli's car, I'm thinking something like maybe a fire extinguisher or other loose component. What you can't do is cable tie that in, of course, because it needs to be quick release.
It was high up in the car, though.
Right. Joe Bradley knows exactly what it is because he's done a bit more research. Joe?
Yeah, I've made some inquiries and I've discovered that the driver net that is on the right-hand side, so it goes down the middle of the car effectively, has come loose. Would you believe that while that's been flapping around, it's flapped around in such a way that it's knocked the ignition switch off? And he kept switching it back on, going round the next corner, it flapped, it switched the ignition off. So that's why the car's been slowing. Would you believe that? I've never ever seen that.
That's why you can't always just assume things, I suppose, and speculate, although we very much enjoy doing that. Not quite a unique situation, but very, very rare, I'm sure. Josh Barrett on Twitter, a little concerned about one or two cars that haven't set a lap time yet. He's
while we're looking for that one, I can tell you he has done his fastest first sector. It's not the fastest, ultimately the fastest first sector, but that sector wasn't the pole lap. So this is a very quick lap indeed from Matteo Malucelli. Carry on with Josh's points.
Well, just 30, the car numbers he spotted, 33, 38, 87, 224 and 3:12 that haven't yet set.
I can answer the question
lap
on
times.
2 of those 4 cars in a moment. It's another green sector, sector 2. We've got just under a minute till we see Matteo Malicelli come by. The 87 car stopped in the morning free practice session on track, and we actually saw that car in the background when Joe was talking to Tom Onslow Cole, with somebody under the car, get some attention to it. One of the 2 car collection cars was also a car in trouble earlier in the session. I think, was that the car that hit the barrier, the 33? I think it was. That car went into the barrier at some point during the morning session.
87 was the car we were talking to Rick Broikers about, wasn't it? The GDL Middle
have we
East.
got a new pole setter? We're going to know in just a few moments' time. Down towards the line comes Matteo Malicelli in the number 11 Scuderia Praha car. This will be, well, he's got another shot at this. And he goes through, he goes to pole. It's 1:47.480, to 0.219 of a second ahead of the number 29 Porsche, which remains on pit lane and will not improve. So Malicelli, after those dramas with what turned out to be the driver's net coming loose and cutting off the ignition, has lifted off immediately. And that was some lap from Matteo Malicelli under some pressure. 1:47.480 for the number 11 Ferrari.
And interesting, as you say, that he could have pushed for another lap, but decides not to. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that car take the shortcut just beyond turn 6 and loop back round into the pits without doing the full part of the circuit. But yeah, leaving it to the 11th hour there through no fault of his own because of a faulty driver net to his right that was starting to trigger various knobs and switches on the control panel. But the guys at Scuderia Praha very, very happy with that provisional pole, and we're running out of time for anyone to beat that. The pit lane, in fact, is now closed. So there's the checkered flag, and the car has indeed managed to sneak into the pit lane via the shortcut. Correct. GRT Grasser Lamborghini heads over the line. Marko Aikin at the wheel, and that car running in A6 AM manages a 5th fastest time in the A6 AM division, just ahead of Christian Frankenhout in the number 1 Hoffer Racing Mercedes, but that car's not been in the session for at least the last 15 minutes or so. The second of the Ferraris, the 488 examples, over the line now.
That car is not being officially scored in this session. It is because it's not an official race entrance. It will not figure in the results or on any podiums.
So almost like an invitational class Ferrari.
And the team manager of the 488 has been asked to trot along and have a quick word with race control.
Would still be good to have an indication of how quickly that...
It has been in the 147s more than once.
Fine. So we get the time for a short period, do we?
Yes.
And then it just deletes itself and falls to the bottom.
So I think it was around the pole time. I've got a funny feeling it may have been a 10th of a second off it. I think they did a 1:47.490 before the time was zeroed again, but Fabio Lima has been in the car and going very rapidly, as indeed is Bjorn Grossman, and that's an entry to look forward to in the VLN, we hope, later this year.
Here's the SPS Mercedes, favourite amongst dinosaur fans, with T-Rexes down the left and right side, a number 16 car. But a recap then of the times after qualifying here in Mugello ahead of the second round of the 2017 24-hour series. Scuderia Praha leaving it late, but the 11 Ferrari 488 doing a 1:47.480 to snatch pole position from the Forch Racing, powered by Olimp, Porsche number 29. The time was set by Robert Lukash. Yes, it was. 1:47.699. So the difference in the end, 0.219 of a second between Ferrari and Porsche. They will lock out the front row. Ahead of the Herberth Motorsport Porsche, they left it late in the session, doing a 1:48.009. The 911 Porsche will start from third, alongside the Lamborghini Huracan of Konrad Motorsport number 21, 1:48.018. Just 9 thousandths of a second between those two times. The third row will be Ram Racing and HTP Mercedes, so an all Mercedes third row indeed, 30 versus 25, 1:48.5 and a 1:49 flat more or less for the HTP Motorsport example. IDEC Sport makes it 3 Mercedes in a row from 5th, 6th down to 7th, alongside the Vortex V8 car, the 204 machine, and that is also an A6 Pro car. So the Vortex 1.0 car doing a 1:50.945 will start in 8th. The head of the car collection Motorsport Audi R8, 1:51.0 for the 32. And the True Racing number 56 KTM Crossbow car with Thomas Enger part of the driving lineup, and that car will start in 10th position. GP Extreme's Renault RS01 will start 11th in the A6 AM category, and that car did it take pole in A6 AM? Yes, it did, with Tisano Karugati, the last to drive it, a 153.239, just ahead of the Raider Motorsport Audi R8, also in A6 AM. SPS Automotive, that was the green camouflage car we just caught a glimpse of, a 153.4 for that machine. And it will start from row 7 alongside the 34 Car Collection Motorsport car. The M4 Silhouette, the flame-spitting BMW from JR Motorsport, will start 15th, and the best of the SP2 cars. And then there are 3 991 class cars, the best of them being the Olimp Racing by Lukash Motorsport 67 Porsche Cup car, just ahead of the MSG Motorsport example and the Pro Sport Performance number 85. Another A6 AM car will start from 19th position, the GRT Grasser Racing Lamborghini, and also on the 10th row, the Hoffa Racing Mercedes, defending champions. APO Sport will start from 21st position in the 80 car, also from class 991 spec. The SPS Automotive Performance, that's the Sky Blue example, number 24, will start from 22nd with a 155.3 second lap time. More SP2 cars, 3 of them in a line. The 203 GC Automobile, the 35 Porsche Cup car from Lorient Racing, and the MSG Motorsport Porsche will start from 26th place. Then have LMS Engineering represented with their 206 Audi TTRS 2. The Nova Race Ginetta G55, the 227 car, starts 28th. IDEC Sport Racing represented by their 75 Porsche from the 29th position. And then another Porsche Lorient Racing 991 Cup car will start from 30th place. We're going to head down to the pit lane to hear a little more from Joe Bradley to get some reflection on the qualifying session. Here's Joe.
Pole position it is for the number 11 Scuderia Praha Ferrari. The man to get that pole position is with us now, Matteo Malicelli. Matteo, that was very close. You had a problem in the car, I believe.
Yeah, because we did the first run and the time was good, 47.7, and then we wait. But after when we come back on the track, we have a problem with the net. While turning in the left corner, switch off the car. So I must stop and fix the problem and then restart, but with the tires not completely new. So it was really hard lap, and I'm really happy for the team, for the car, and that's a good point to start, but it's only the first lap of the 12 hours. So.
Matteo, this is your home track, I believe. Mugello is your local track. You know a lot about Mugello.
It's not my home track, but I live 100k from here. So for an Italian guy, it's one of the favorite track because it's one of the best circuits in Italy. So,
well done. Congratulations, Matteo Malicelli. A Ferrari on pole for the 12 hours of Mugello. Italy in spring. It doesn't get better.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, it was predictable, I suppose. Only a couple of Ferraris in the entry. One of them wasn't even